Let's answer a few questions before we dig in. Now, if you answer no to these questions, this might not be the topic for you. But if you answer yes to any of the following questions, then I highly suggest you fasten your seatbelt, buckle up, and listen up. So, question number 1. Have you written a book but have seen sales slow? Maybe you launched your book, you had great sales, and then they dipped down. Maybe, question number 2, do you want to write a book and be able to collect regular royalty checks? All right. And then here's question number 3 is, do you want to have people talking about your book and doing your marketing for you? Awesome. Well, if you answered yes to any of these questions, then continue listening. If you answered no to all of these questions, well, maybe writing a book isn't the thing that you want to do right now, and that's perfectly okay. So look, I've come up with a simple way to help you sell more books. I call it the 3 R's. Now, before we go into that, I want to tell you a little bit about my background just so you know where I'm coming from. I'm a 4-time best-selling author before I turned 30 years old. I've sold thousands and thousands of copies of my books. I've spoken across the United States, China, Canada as a paid motivational speaker. And I've built 3 businesses on the back end of my books in the coaching, speaking, and book publishing space. Now I run a company called Big Idea to Bestseller, where we've helped 250 plus people write, publish, and launch their very own nonfiction books. So now that you know a little bit more about me and what we do, I want to share what I call the 3 R's. And this is what does a lot of the heavy lifting for authors in the beginning and as they want to have long-term success. But before I tell you each one of the 3 R's, it's really important that we need to understand that writing a book does take work. Okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it doesn't. And I believe that the book should be written by you with a unique perspective. And so the first step in order to be able to leverage the 3 R's properly is to actually write a high quality, what we call lightning book. Okay? And so what this is you want to create a book written by you. Now, you may be able to use AI to help in the beginning stages, but the words need to be yours. You may be able to team up with a in-person assistant. You may be able to team up with a ghostwriter, a writing coach. But at the end of the day, the words are yours, your frameworks, your philosophies, your insights. You want to have a clear audience, and you want to be able to clearly identify what your objective is from writing this book. All right? So once you do that, and I can show you all about how to do that, literally just go to bigideatobestseller.com/free-book. I'll give you a free copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, which is the roadmap on how to do all this. And you could follow the process and follow the steps step by step through that book. Okay. So once you write a great book, then we want to get into the 3 R's. Now, here's what's really important. Okay. In order for the 3 R's to work as effectively as possible, you need to make sure that the book is written in a high quality way and published in a high quality way. You don't want to be an amateur when you release your book. You don't want to have a bunch of typos. You don't want to have it, the interior not be formatted correctly. You don't want to have a shitty cover. And you want to make sure that things are done right so that when you launch it to the world, people see the professionalism and they get excited about your book. So now let's assume you've done all of these things and you've created a really high quality book. Well, here's what the 3 R's are: results, reviews, recommendations. Let's break it down. So first things first is results. The first R is results. When you write a really great book, people actually finish it. And in today's world, and the data will show, is that people prefer shorter books over longer books. I polled my audience of several thousand aspiring authors, and the majority, over 70% of them, prefer books under 200 pages. We also looked at some of the reviews on some of the biggest selling books, and a lot of the reviews that were 3 stars were because the book was great, but it was a little bit long. It could have been done in a much shorter time frame. And so people in today's world, okay, and we could think TikTok, social media, but people want to have faster and shorter books. So our job, knowing what the consumer is looking for, is to create a shorter, finishable book. All right, and so you want to keep it short. Again, we call this a lightning book, about 150 pages or so. 30 to 45,000 words is often a great sweet spot. Can be a little less, can be a little more. It's not the end all be all if you're outside of that range on the high end, but that's kind of like a sweet spot that we've really seen here. And when you do this, you want to mix your story with your teaching. You want to give people a chance to know you, and you also want to help them get a specific result, whether it's solving a problem or helping them achieve a desire. Now, if you can do that, If you can do that in a book, it's going to be finishable. And if it's finishable, that means people are going to actually get through your book. If they get through your book, what's going to happen is that they're more likely to take the action steps that your book says for them to do. Why? Well, they'll feel connected to you, they'll feel accomplished, and they'll actually probably, if they're finishing the book, be interested in your said topic. What's going to also happen is when they finish a book, they're going to have more confidence in you as the guide, again, reinforcing the behavior that they should do the things that you suggest in the book that got you and maybe other people the result. And so because of that, they'll actually get the results. They'll finish your book, they'll do the things, and they'll actually get results. Again, if your book sucks, then they won't get results, and then it stops here. But if your book's great and articulates what you've already been paid for, what you already love, your unique perspective, well, then people and readers are going to be able to get results. And if they get results, it leads to the second R. And the second R is reviews. So when people actually get results from their book, from reading a book, it stays top of mind. Okay? I think back to a lot of different books that I've read over the years, and I'll give one, Atomic Habits. I really like that book. And one of the things about Atomic Habits is that for me, after I read it, I did some of the things that were in the book, and I got great results. That led me to leaving reviews and keeping it very top of mind for me. I wanted to tell a lot of people about it. And so that is what you want to do, is you want to create a book that gets people results. And then if they get results, they're more likely to leave reviews. Why? Why do people feel like this? And why do we see this happening? Well, it's because if somebody buys your $20 book, okay, pick whatever price you buy books at, and you actually help them solve a specific problem that they're struggling with. Or maybe you write a finance book and it helps them save $100,000, okay? Or get a raise in their career. Well, that $20 book has a huge return on investment. And so when that happens, people are more likely to leave a review. Or they're more likely willing to leave a review if you follow up and if you ask. So reviews become really, really easy when you have results. The more reviews you get, both verbally and written, the easier it is for other people to start buying your book. Again, word of mouth. Following along? I'm loving this. So let's go one step further for you. The third R is recommendations. So you have results, reviews, and then recommendations. There's two types of recommendations that I'm going to share with you for the sake of this conversation. And you have word of mouth recommendations. So when you create a really high quality book that people actually finish, that they get results from, and then they start leaving reviews, they are going to give you word of mouth recommendations, which is going to create your movement. It's going to create the snowball effect of buyers. Why are these people going to recommend you those, you might be asking? Well, if they liked your book, they got results, they leave a review, your book stays, again, top of mind. Your book stays in a place where they could easily grab it. It doesn't go away after they're done. They loved it. They enjoyed it. They're going to leave it out. So you're going to see it more. Subconsciously, you're going to be aware of it. So when someone asks you for a book recommendation, boom, that book is going to be one of the ones that you recommend. So you're going to have not only top of mind and frequency, but you're also going to have recency. Recency, it's one of the more recent books. Frequency, the amount of times you think or see one that you really like or got results for. Now, oftentimes, these are in a season, unless it becomes one of your top books of all time. Let me give you an example of this. So my first book was called Elevate Beyond. That was a career development book. And people would read that book, and then they were in college applying for summer internships or for jobs. They would read that book, they'd put a bunch of notes in it, and they'd keep it right next to their 24/7. So they would always be thinking about it, which meant that they were going to refer it out a ton in that season. But once they got that first job, well, that book went on their bookshelf and they didn't necessarily need it until the next summer, till they wanted to get a promotion or whatever it may be. So depending on the style of book you have, it may be great for a season where you could really, really capitalize mind share. Or if it's more applicable year round, well, then it's going to be most relevant when they first read it. And then it's going to continue to be as relevant as it continues to get them results. And then the second type of recommendations that will come that will drive word of mouth sales, or that will drive sales without you really lifting a finger, is Amazon recommendations. All right. So, and here's what I mean by that is when your book first comes out, in the first 30 days, it can become what's called a hot new release. And this is a book that tends to garner some immediate attention in a new category. And Amazon will put it as a new release because it wants readers who buy books in that category to see, oh my gosh, there's a new hot book. It's getting some momentum. Amazon says, here, take a look at it. So that's a really great way to just automatically drive some initial sales. But here's what's also really cool. Have you ever gotten one of those emails from anybody that says, oh, you bought this? Maybe you like this, right? Well, the same thing happens when you write a book. So if somebody is buying a bunch of books on, let's say, dieting and fitness, and your book falls into a specific category that they've been checking out or they've purchased before, Amazon could potentially recommend you to that person via email, right? So that's where when you write a really great book that one, you're proud of, and two, solves a problem, it combines your story with your teaching. You get the 3 R's. You get results, you get reviews, and you get recommendations. And this is how authors are able to sell books on repeat, build word of mouth, and let their book do the selling for them so that they don't have to be dancing on social media or doing some other forms. And they can use that book to really generate business or to just collect a royalty check every month, whatever it is that you as the author prefer. And that's the beautiful thing about writing a great book. So I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you did, I want you to grab a copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller. It's completely free. It's the roadmap on how to actually write, publish, and launch a nonfiction book. You can get it at the link down below, or you can go to bigideatobestseller.com/free-book. And if you want to actually learn how to actually write your book, or if you have a book and you're looking on how to market it and be successful with your book, then go to bigideatobestseller.com/call. Me or my team will talk to you. We'll break down your book idea, your vision for it, and what it would take to actually make that happen. So I'll see you next time.